city attorney nodding and like, yeah, that's on the phone now?
It's a city phone. We are not.
Is that what we're doing now?
I've never had an issue with that with you guys, but every time with IFF something it goes on, and I'm like, we stopped the meeting one day for, 30 minutes for IT in here trying to fix it. Finally, we're just like,
See, that's why I carry an EMP in my pocket.
I use the resources provided. So, okay, so we're reconvening at 2:58. Jared, review.
So, discussing some of that, so to try to help out the language, Attorney Lambert has a suggestion of how the language can be better suited with your concern.
And there's two things I wanted to touch on. With FRS, my understanding of it, and it's not an in-depth understanding, but the death benefit is an additional benefit to the retirement, right?
Correct.
So the spouse can get a benefit even if they're not the beneficiary.
I thought it was an either or. I would have to look at it.
Yeah,
I'd be happy to.
I
look at
think
it.
it's an additional, but I just glanced over it. So the other thing is, with regard to the age issue that you were bringing up, our proposal, and I can write it up for you, is basically the pension board's proposal. But in that first paragraph where they have the designated beneficiary of any participant killed in the line of duty may receive, et cetera, at the end of that, if the designated beneficiary is 18 years of age or younger, and then we copy the language for the under 18 until the 25th birthday. And then that way you don't have to worry about, a 12-year-old, a 2-year-old, anything like that, because it covers it that way. I mean, typically it would just be a child. I don't think you pick a random 5-year-old, but in that way you wouldn't have any issues. And we're not limiting it to spouses, which, frankly, gets rid of the capability of any gay couples, any couples that don't believe in marriage, any couples like that, which I think you're cutting out a fairly decent portion of the population or the police force. So I do believe that would take care of everyone's issues. But if you have anything to say about that so I can tailor it to what you're looking for, I'd be happy to hear it.
Yeah, I think if you provide your counter proposal to us, I can meet as soon as next week.
Perfect.
So, my goal is that we want to get this before council sooner than later. Okay. So as I relayed to Jared earlier, I would have to have something resolved the first week of January to make sure that this is on the January 17th agenda. Sorry, I got ahead of myself. It would be the city's thought that we would like to move forward with getting this done sooner than later and close out this year's negotiations. And as I've stated to Jared, I want to reopen the entire agreement February 1st so that we're not waiting until June or July like we did this year, and that we open up the entire retirement article with
Opening everything for negotiations February instead of waiting until end of the year.
and because right now we have, the city has already agreed, and I've relayed this back to IUPA, that the city has already agreed to have Mr. Little study the average final compensation of 3 years. The annual benefit increasing to $120,000, employee contribution of 8%, COLA and drop. IUPA is looking to pay for 2 items of the average final compensation and normal retirement date. So we've already agreed that we're looking at doing this. We know that this won't be completed by Mr. Little until the end of March, first part of April. So obviously we're going to go back and forth between the 2 parties discussing of those. We're going to get that ironed out between us 2. Then we got to take it back to Shade. So we're looking at, the earliest we would probably have any of this resolved would be first part of May to end of May, which means it's not going to go to council till the end of May, first part of June. No one wants to delay this. So we're wanting to get, I would propose to IUPA that let's get this ironed out, get this year's negotiations closed. We're not stopping the other items we've already agreed to that the city's paying for, no questions asked. We've already agreed on all the other items, and we can get this year's negotiations completed. I think it's reasonable, and it doesn't delay both sides of everything that we're trying to accomplish.
So the mindset of the mindset here is that we would effectively stop this year's negotiations and then reconvene it with the totality of the next one.
Yes, sir.
But they want to finish up the line of duty death benefit before that.
Because my concern is that we've obviously been working on this fiscal year, and I don't find myself wanting to close this particular year unless there's an actual legal problem with it continuing on, because we can make a clear separation that we're talking about, hey, we're still working on this 2021 contract, settle that, and at the same time, okay, now we're talking about 2023's contract. To me, in the membership, like I said, unless there's a legal problem with it, I would prefer that that we're clearly showing that we're currently still negotiating the 2021. If I want the line of duty death thing to be completed too. I know the city does want that to be completed too. My intention is that this gets resolved in terms of an MOU. That if we can agree upon this, then this can be signed, put as an MOU, and can be effective even though the pension article is open.
We currently have retirement article open, so it is the stance of the city at this time, unless I'm told otherwise, that it all has to be completed.
Before the February.
No. We're not gonna, do this part of the retirement article and then look at potentially 6 others, because we have the retirement article open.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to get everything. We want to get everything related to the retirement article completed.
Okay.
So.
And this is an MOU that we're talking about?
No, sir. This is this is a part of the retirement benefit, in that article. So this would fall within that article. So no, at this time, we will not do this as an MOU simply because we already are currently in negotiations with the 6 other potential benefit changes.
Okay. I just wanted clarification so I know what I'm making sure.
I mean, if you, I will pull it up. So this is currently Article 29 that we're discussing.
So we're saying meet again maybe next week.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, do you have this, sir, in an electronic format?
He's going to email it to me and I'll type it up. It should take me 5 minutes when I get back to the office. The one thing I did want to point out is the way it's written up in your proposal. If there's a, say, separation of the spouse or benefit other than the spouse can turn around and elect to receive this, and then the designated beneficiary gets nothing. So that's kind of an issue too.
Yeah, but I was gonna say that too.
So we can make those changes and send that back to you, reconvene about that. In terms of the separation and closing the fiscal 2021 year, I'm that's gonna be something I'm gonna have to discuss with the membership and our representation, because I'm, I'm torn by the idea of just saying, hey, we did all this and we're just gonna close it. When if there is no legal bind to say that we could do this as an MOU, effectively agree on it, then if there is, like I said, if there is a legal issue, then that's one thing. But if there's not a legal issue other than the city's position, I'd like to understand why the city's position would be, well, we just want to close this out. Because then the other thing I would like to be able to bring up is that effectively me closing this one is mean that that's going to be one less thing I can open next year. So I'd like to be able for the membership to be able to select their 3 things they can open. And now I'm effectively removing one by saying, okay, well, we have to reopen this one when we could have allowed it to just continue in terms of the pension benefits, and get this one done as an MOU once we agree on it. And then with my complete contract open, I can give the bargaining unit the opportunity to have multiple things rather than just removing one out of the gate from them. So,
actually, Jared, next year, the entire all articles are open, because as it stands right now, this agreement is only through September of 23. So it would be 100% open to begin with. So that's where I'm just trying to make the statement is
And if
that
we open it in February, like he's saying, we start negotiating the new 3-year term in February.
Right.
That's what you're saying.
Yes, sir. And that's what I'm saying is, I mean, let's think of this the other way. Okay. If we can't resolve everything until May, June, I'm already in the budget process. Okay. So, council is going to be very, hard set. And then I didn't say this to you, this came up on Tuesday night. I mean, the city has already out $7.5 million in Hurricane Ian and Nicole. Okay. So our reserves went from this to this, and we're not even done. So there's no guarantee that we could even come in June or July, or, when we start the negotiations in May, that the council would agree to make any change until effective October 1st anyway. I can't speak for council.
When does the FEMA money come in?
I hope you are.
I was just gonna say with your definition, when you proposed it, if you could just kind of make it clear who the designated beneficiary is, because as it stands, I feel like you could give it to anybody, your friend,
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah, well, and technically,
yeah, because I could all of a sudden, have this whirlwind romance meet, Karen on Friday, we're going to get married on Tuesday, I proposed her on Saturday. Now she's my fiance and I've known her 3 whole days.
Well, I mean, have you been around cops? Right.
have you ever been to Vegas?
Yeah.
Listen,
I just be copying.
I know
What's
more
the
than one
issue with all that
officer
versus
friend that has flown to Vegas and gotten married. So to answer your question, it's yes.
But again, my question is, what does it matter to the city whether it's spouse or designated beneficiary? I mean, you could come in as an 18-year-old officer married to an 18-year-old, you die, and your 18-year-old spouse gets that money forever. What does it matter if they're a spouse or just a girlfriend, fiance, boyfriend? What's the difference?
well, we're happy to consider what you send us. and
Exactly.
We'll come back with.
I know, it seems like you guys have a hang up
Yeah.
with the spouse thing, and then like designated beneficiary has to be limited in some way, and I'm just trying to figure out why. Why can't it be whoever you want it to be? What if it is a friend?
And that's
How's that any different if you have a close friend and you have no family, maybe you're an orphan, you have a close friend you want to give it to, how is that different than give it to a spouse?
also that 3-day thing. Designated beneficiary would never be approved in 3 days, so you're safe.
Good one.
all right.
Yeah, I believe,
I got you.
Jared,
Yeah.
we've always so far worked where it blends together eventually.
Mhm.
We'll get there, sir.
That's fine.
So-
Well, like I said, we'll adjust this and we'll
Yeah.
get it to you and we'll set up a date to just come back and see you again.
So again, we want to get this wrapped up. Do you want to go ahead and see how your calendar is for next Thursday or Friday, the 15th or 16th?
Either one's fine.
Well, I
Kyle
can
and
t-
Brian, do you have any preference?
15 or
Do you have
16.
availabilities?
It depends on what time on the 16th, because I have to be present at some judicial retirement.
Yeah. Near the old man can make it work either day.
Okay. Is the 15th better for you, Kyle?
Yeah, I don't have anything on the calendar at all.
We can do 15th.
3 o'clock on the 15th?
That's fine.
3 o'clock.
I'm retired. I didn't get it on paper today.
Doesn't matter how
So
long.
when you keep going, I'll be applying to other agencies too.
Yeah, it does. We got caught up in that.
It's cold in North Carolina.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I know. I'm tired of being hot.
Yeah.
I will confirm that this
What
room,
time?
3 o'clock.
Great.
I will confirm that this room is available, or see if there's another room maybe local.
That's fine.
So, but thank y'all for sitting on this side. So IUPA sits on this side, city sits on this side.
You're welcome.
I like it warm.
We appreciate your time as always.
All right, thank you.
Thank y'all. Oh, was there anything else?